So in this video, I'm going to do an overview of using Google Groups to do a forum-based discussion. So let's say you have a topic, you're working with students or you're working with a group of adults and you're looking for a place to do an online threaded discussion. Okay, so first of all, you can see I got here by going to groups.google.com. I'm already logged into my Google account. If I go to my waffle, and I kind of search through, eventually I will run into my groups right there. Don't confuse your Google Groups with your contacts. You can do contact groups, which is basically a list of people you want to send emails to, but that is not the same as groups. Okay, so here I am at the groups home. You can see by default I have browse all and my groups. So if I go to my groups, it's going to show me every group that I'm a member of, either that I made or I was added to. Most of these I'm looking at here are used as email groups. So you can make a new group that you're going to just use to email people. If I go to browse all, it will show me some groups that I'm not necessarily a member of, but I could join because they are open groups. So I'm going to go to the create group, and I'm going to give my group a name. So since this is fake, I'm going to do testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. You can see here it will automatically make an email address that's the same as your group name. So one thing I kind of caution you about, let's say I did testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6's group for the name. You know, it might do some kind of funky thing with the email address. So if you have a complex name for the group, you may want to go in and manually change the name for the group email address just to make it easier for the group. You can do a little description. I'll just do testing because this is a fake. Keep the language default. Here under group type, you can see the different options. So by default, it's an email list. So if I kept this as is, once I add members, anytime someone sent an email to that@oxuvt.org, it would send out to every member in the group as an email. Okay, if I just keep it an email list. You can see when I click, I have other options. We're going to be taking a look at the Webform, but you could do a Q&A form, which is more of an open forum. That might be good if you're looking for like parent feedback, or a collaborative inbox if you're looking for like basically an email address inbox that several people could use. So I'm going to change that to web forum. Down here at the bottom is your basic permissions. You're looking at view topics, posting, and joining the group. So if I go through, you can see the default for viewing topics is all organization members. Now in this case, all organization members, easy for me to say, would be anyone who has an email address for this district, which would include all staff and all students. So chances are I don't want everyone to be able to view the topics. So I'm going to uncheck that one. You could then determine if you want all members of the group to be able to view topics or just managers, who are the people who take care of the group. 9 out of 10 times, or 95% of the time probably, you're going to want all members of the group to be able to view the topics. Otherwise, I'm not really sure why they're a member of the group. So for posting, same thing. Probably you don't want everyone in the organization to be able to post. You want to kind of limit who has access to it. But you would want all members to be able to post. Otherwise, it would kind of be like a view-only forum. For joining the group, you kind of have to decide what the purpose of the group is. So anyone in the organization, if you had an open forum that maybe it's a training and you're fine if students take it or staff take it. You could have anyone in your organization join and then log in. You could have anyone can ask. It'd be anyone who has a Google account or anyone in the organization. So they'd have to ask first if they want to be a member of the group. In this case, I'm going to go to only invited users because I want to specify who's going to be a member of this group. So having set my basic permissions, I'm going to click on Create. And I'm going to tell it that I am not Mr. Roboto. And continue. So right now it's making that group. You can see here it says the group's created and gives me a list of some basic starting topics I can do. So inviting people, customizing the settings, and adding a topic. So in this case, I'm going to just click on OK and get out of there. So here's my basic forum setups. When people came here, you can see I could have a welcome message. They could go and do a new topic or reply to existing topics. Now, I'm going to go in and actually get into some of the settings for my group so you can see how that works. I'm going to jump over here to Manage. When I do that, you have all these settings on the side. I'm not going to touch on all of them, but I'm going to show a few that I think are important to look at when you get started. The first one I'm going to do is take a look at my my settings. Under settings, I'm going to go to categories. So by default, if I was to do a new message, it would just list them all, right? Now, if you're doing a forum, you may have a forum for a certain group. Let's say there's a proficiency-based learning group, right? And you may want some subtopics under that, okay? So to keep things organized, you could go to category. Once you go to your categories, you can enable them. And then you can make either a group or a category. A category group would kind of be a larger container that contains smaller categories in it. So let's say you're just doing professional learning for your group. You could do a category that's proficiency-based learning, a category group that's proficiency-based learning, and underneath it you could do separate categories for parts of proficiency-based learning. Okay. In this case, I only have a more of a narrow focus for my group, so I'm going to just do some categories. I'm going to call this one this. The second box would be a description for whatever that category is. You can see it's there. Let me add another one just called that. Again, I could add a description. And there you go. There's two categories. The other thing I'll show you over here under settings is tags. So let me save it first. Always save, save, save. So if you're used to doing tags in blogs or other locations, it works the same thing. Here, I can enable them. And then people, if they want, they could add tags to their posts to kind of help organize and group them. Under here, you can see it's already giving me suggestions based off of the two categories, but I could add some other sample tag suggestions so people would have those to draw from. It's up to you whether you have people have to use tags or not. So I'll save that. I'm going to go over here to members. So if I want to add members, I can go to invite and add them simply by adding an email address. They'll then get an email inviting them to join this group. There's also an opportunity here to directly add members. You could put them in here. So if you don't want people to have to click and join and do all that kind of stuff, you can do that. Just make sure you have people's email addresses right. Okay, so I'm at my group home now. You can see I have these categories I made and a place where I could add my welcome message. If I go to add a new topic, here's the section where I can start adding my threaded discussion. So talking about stuff. You can determine what type of post it is. Probably we'll be doing mostly discussions, but you could do an announcement, which is kind of a one-way communication. You can see here's where I can choose what category it's part of, and my text goes here. The options are very similar to Gmail, so you can do links and images, and once I'm done, I can post to it. So now you can see under this category, I have this one topic. If I click on it, I can see it. If I want to reply to it, I can do so. And then you kind of have your discussion going. So I could add another reply if I wanted to. You can copy and paste if you're working from a document. Also reply to other replies. So if I go here like to more replies and click on the post reply there, you can say here is a reply to a reply post. And it'll kind of post it like that. The thing I like least about the Google Groups discussions is visually it's kind of hard to figure out who's replying to who. It doesn't like cinch it in or anything like that. So I guess that's a drawback. But if you're looking for a quick, easy way to do a forum, this is definitely one way to do it. The last thing I'll mention is if I go up to my gear and I go back to my group settings, down at the bottom there is some embed code. So if you're using a different resource, like let's say a Google site that will take HTML, you can embed the form right into that other resource. So that's kind of handy. And that's basically Google Groups in a nutshell.